Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. In this episode, let's talk about 2021 GIANT REVOLT Advanced 1 gravel bike. But before we start, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe and hit that little bell icon because it's gonna help in growing the channel. And of course, if you are already a subscriber, then definitely thank you. So let's talk about this gravel road bike from Giant. This is the GIANT REVOLT Advanced 1 with the retail price of $3,000 US. So first thing first, let's answer the question, who is this bike for? So you see, this GIANT REVOLT range is a gravel road bike. So let's imagine you are spending most of your time on the road with your road bike, but from time to time you want to go a bit off-road, nothing extreme, but a bit of kind of exploring some parks or some other off-road areas. Then definitely you should consider gravel road bikes, just because they will give you so much more options of going lightly off-road. If you demand something that is more extreme off-roading, then definitely you have to consider a proper cross-country mountain bike. Is it a hardtail or is it a full suspension mountain bike? When you look at the paint scheme on this bike, unfortunately there is only one paint scheme to choose from, and this is what they call concrete paint scheme, which is basically kind of light gray going to like white and with a hint of black. It's a nice paint scheme, no problem with that. I wish that Giant has offered at least one more paint scheme, because after all this is a $3,000 US gravel road bike. But it is what it is. So now let's dive in and let's really see what do you get for your hard-earned money. We can kick off with the frame and the fork on this bike. So you see, the frame is the carbon fiber frame, which is the Giant's advanced grade composite, and also the fork is the Giant's advanced grade composite fork. With this fork you have also a full composite overdrive steerer, and on the fork you will have the rack mounts. Keep in mind that this carbon fiber frame and the fork from Giant come with the lifetime warranty, which is absolutely great. Few other manufacturers can do it, but you know, majority of other manufacturers would only give you like 5 years warranty. So this lifetime warranty on the carbon fiber frame and the fork is absolutely superb. Also here, since this is a gravel bike, you will have a lot of mounting points, rack mounts on the fork, on the frame, down tube, seat tube, so you can really pack a lot of stuff if you want to go, you know, some kind of bike packing, backpacking with this bike. It's easy to do. So frame and the fork, absolutely fine. I have no complaints here. Now let's talk about a little bit about some smaller pieces on this bike, and this is specifically handlebar and the stem. So both handlebar and the stem are Giant Contact production, so Giant own product, and these are aluminum pieces. So handlebar, Giant's Contact D-Fuse, nicely shaped, and the stem, Giant Contact classical aluminum stem. Good thing here is that these pieces are separate, so you can finally tune your position, and you can also easily replace these pieces in the future. This is what I like. They are aluminum, but again, no complaints here. It's perfectly fine. Saddle and the seat post. Seat post is Giant's D-Fuse carbon fiber seat post. Absolutely superb. It will give you so much more comfort, and it will definitely absorb so much more of the road bumps than a classical aluminum seat post. So this is absolutely superb. Giant's own saddle is the Giant Approach saddle. I don't have experience with this saddle. Giant can make some very good saddles, but again, if you have your own saddle that you really like, just please do keep it as long as possible, since saddles always are a personal preference. Now let's talk about the group set on this bike. So the shifters, front mech and the rear mech. So you see, there is no front mech on this bike because this is a 1x group set. So if you look at this bike, you will see that on the front you will only have one chain ring with the chain catcher. And this is now a classical system that you might see on the cross-country mountain bikes and now also spilling into the gravel road bikes. I like this one-by system, makes life so much easier, and you don't have to worry about the front mech, breaking the front mech, setting up the front mech, so it makes life so much more easier. So we can talk about the the shifters and the rear mech. So you see the rear mech is the Shimano's GRX Groupset. So this is a dedicated Shimano Groupset for gravel riding, GRX RX 810, and the shifters are GRX RX 600. Perfectly fine, no complaints here. I will just mention that when you look at the shifters, which are the RX 600 series, keep in mind that there is one series above, which can be the RX 810 series, but this RX 600 series for the shifters, totally fine, no complaints. Braking system on the bike is the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, again from the Shimano GRX range, dedicated to the gravel, and these are RX 400 hydraulic disc brakes. 160mm braking rotors front and the back, absolutely superb, no complaints here. And I will also mention here, when you look at the braking rotors on this bike, you are getting Shimano's RT70 braking rotors, correct? And you see these RT70 braking rotors are, perfectly fine out of the box, no problem. You might also see them under the name of Shimano SLX. But maybe in the future, if you are thinking of upgrading, I would suggest you to have a look at the Shimano's Ultegra braking rotors, just because they will come with the famous Shimano Ice Tech Ice Freeza technology, and you can also get them in the 160mm center lock option. This way, out of the box, again, perfectly fine, no complaints here about this Shimano GRX RX 400/600 hydraulic disc brakes. Now let's talk about the crankset, the chain and the cassette. So the crankset on this bike, as I said, is the 1x crankset. So this is the Shimano's RX 600 crankset, only one chainring at the front, and this chainring is the 40-tooth chainring. And this crankset is paired with the Shimano's M7000 cassette, and this cassette goes 1142. M7000 cassette is the cassette from the Shimano's mountain biking world. M7000 would be the Shimano's SLX level of the cassette. Perfectly fine, no problems, and I just like how it gives you so much more range, 1142. So you see this 1142 cassette and the 40-tooth chainring at the front will definitely give you a lot of range. You don't have to worry about climbing any steep hills or going, on the road, because the range is perfectly fine. The only exception small here is that the Giant hasn't used Shimano chain. They have used the KMC X11 EL chain. Perfectly fine chain, no complaints here. If this is something that bothers you, you can easily in the future, when you destroy this chain, change it for the Shimano Ultegra level chain. I forgot to mention on the carbon fiber frame that it's a press-fit bottom bracket, Shimano press-fit bottom bracket with internal cable routing, and I'm not expecting any creaking noises because Giant really knows how to make quality carbon fiber frames. Now let's talk about the wheel set and the tires. So the wheel set on this bike is the Giant's own production. So this is the Giant PX2 disc wheel set. This is, you see, a classical aluminium wheel set from Giant. 12mm through axles both front and the back, and I would expect this wheel set to be about 1,800-1,900 grams. Nothing special, classical aluminium wheel set with the Giant's own hubs, sealed bearings, and it is wrapped also in the Giant's own tires. These are Giant cross-cut tubeless tires, 38C tires. Perfectly fine, lot of air volume. Personally, I wish they even increased it to the 45mm tire, just because this frame and the fork can take 45mm tires. But again, 38C fine out of the box. Also, the good thing here is that, yes, wheelset is tubeless and it's tubeless ready, so Giant have prepared everything, tires and the wheelset, so you can immediately run them tubeless. Total weight of the bike, I did a bit of research on some other web portals, and you can find the data that this Giant Revolt Advanced 1 In the size medium will be approximately 9.2 kilograms. So for example, I would need size medium large, so I would expect it about 9.4 kilograms out of the box, which is pretty decent. I mean, nothing special, the competition can do it on the same levels, but again, this is a gravel road bike and you shouldn't expect anything super light, because even when you look at the geometry of this bike, this is very similar to the Giant's Defy geometry, a bit more relaxed and a bit more comfortable. So, in a summary, do I have any special complaints about this bike? Let's put it in perspective. So this is a retail price of $3,000 US dollars. I mean, you know my opinion about the retail price. You should always speak with your local bike dealer, be nice, negotiate nicely, try to get some discount, or maybe try to get some extra equipment, helmet, gloves, t-shirt, shoes, whatever they can drop in if you are buying this bike. It's worth it. So $3,000 US dollars. There are few small details that I wish Giant has just upgraded a little bit, and that's it, but nothing special. So I'll kick off with the tires. Tires are 38C. I wish that Giant from the beginning included a 45mm tire, just because the frame can fit it, and again, a bit more air volume, a bit more smoother ride. Also, I wish that Giant had a bit more freedom in including the Shimano Ultegra braking rotors, just because they are better than these RT70. RT70 are gonna serve you totally fine, but Shimano Ultegra with their Ice Tech Ice Freeza technology would just be a little bit better. Except from that, everything else is totally fine. I'm especially proud of Giant for doing super quality carbon fiber frames and the forks with their lifetime warranty, so I believe Giant will sell a lot of these Giant Revolt Advanced 1 bikes. So I think this is going to be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing, and if you do, please do subscribe and hit that little bell icon, because it's going to help in growing the channel. And of course, I will see you soon in the next episode. Pura Vida!